All right, the third game on the board is normally the big one of the weekend, the SEC title game, but the odds makers are saying
this is going to be a touch football game is what this is going to be.
Florida-Bama, normally a close defensive game, yet the odds makers opened at 16 on Alabama. The game is at the Georgia Dome neutral site. Now it's up to 17. 89% of the early wagers have been on Alabama. So right now it's 17 with a total of 40.5. I guess, Florida 10 wins and 2 losses, but perhaps should we call them the lumbering miracle under the new coach, Jim McElwain. He's done a phenomenal job with an offensive line that's been terrible, with an offense that has been terrible, and even he admitted back in August, I don't have any skill position talent to work with. Well, he's been able to coax something out of the offense, and he inherited a great defense, and they have been outstanding. They're down now to their backup quarterback because of a suspension. That'll be Trayon Harris. 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Had to replace the offensive line, too, and yet here they are. 10-2 record is stellar, but they weren't stellar last week in the rivalry game against Florida State. They got 2 points.
How did they get that?
Well, they got a rouge late in the game. I think it was
two rouges.
2 rouges.
They were 4 of 17 on third down, just 263 total yards, and your reward is to play Nebraska. So, Sean, 89% of the wagers here are on Alabama. Is this going to be a rout?
Boy. You talk on paper, right? I'm wondering why this line isn't at least 21.5 and higher. Let's look at this SEC, West and East kind of thing. Now, Alabama, at one time, right, 16.5. I saw 17.5, then back to 17, so there's some Florida money out there. With a line of 17 and a total of 40.5, which is what it is, they're telling you that the score of this game will be Alabama 29 to about 11. I don't see how Florida's going to score 6. A couple of field goals maybe. It's the number 2 team. This is AP stuff now. Alabama ranked number 2, even though they have a loss. And Florida ranked number 18. This will be a 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. It's a CBS game. You don't have to worry about the weather, of course, in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Let's take a look at Florida. Florida 10-2 straight up. They win by an average margin of about 9.75 points a game, and very good against the bookie. Another thing, 7-4-1. Nothing wrong with that. I'll take that every year. But just 1-3 against the number of the last 4 games, and like Jeff said, boy, this last thing against Florida State, they were never even in it. Florida coming off a lackluster 27-2 loss as a home dog at 2.5, and they barely won as a home favorite at 29.5 against Florida Atlanta. That was 20-14, and barely beat Vanderbilt 9-7 as a home favorite at 20.5. They were lucky to get that, which is why this line is so high, and in my opinion, it's not high enough. Freshman quarterback, Will Greer, 10 touchdown pass, 3 interceptions, but he's out. So now, like you said, sophomore quarterback, is it Trayon? Is that how you pronounce his name? Harris, 8 touchdowns and passes, 4 interceptions, 1,365 yards. He's a talented kid, but we're talking sophomore. I'm about that. Offensive line has lost 4 starters. Bama beat Florida as a home favorite of 42-21 last year. I don't know how Florida got the 21 points. How about outgained 672 yards to 200? So I don't know how they got the 21 points. Let's look at Alabama, and how about the mindset of this team aside from the talent? 11-1 straight up, 7-5 against the number. They won and covered their last 4 straight. After the stunning losses Bama has suffered to Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Auburn in their last 2 years, I got to believe Mr. Saban will have this team 100%, 110% focused on this game. And what do we got here? Who's running the controls? How about a senior quarterback, Coker? Not the greatest numbers in the world, but he doesn't lose games for you. 15 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, 2,285 yards. Senior running back, Henry. I don't think we have to talk about him much. So 1,797 yards at 6 yards a carry. He just rumbles. It doesn't matter who he plays. Bama defense allows just 11 points a game. I don't know that Florida can even score on this team. Bama offense, Bama off a 29-13 win as a road favorite at 13.5. They scored late to get the cover against Auburn. Question I got is, will Florida even score? This game bothers me a lot. This is kind of like the Jeff Sad thing. Maybe I just ought to pass on it because it looks too easy. I mean, I can see 48-2. 51-0, that kind of stuff, right? Especially after the way Alabama has lost in BCS games the last 2 years. Yeah. And we're talking about playing a second-string quarterback. Why isn't this line higher? Am I missing something here? Right, to me, it's Alabama or nothing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But I can't make a case for Alabama even getting to 6. Alabama. I can't even make a case for Florida scoring a touchdown unless Bama just drops the ball on the ground, and just gives them the 2.
All right, give me the final score then, your prediction.
On paper, the way everything looks, and you're right, they're 10-2, and they cover numbers, which is what bothers me about this. But I don't see anything less than like 37-7 type of game. I think this is a massive blowout here. But I haven't put my money down on it yet.
Well, Alabama has not been covering numbers 8-14
You're right.
against the spread. On the other hand, of late, they've been covering a 7-2 ATS run. It's kind of a mixed bag. The Bama had that one hiccup game against Ole Miss where the defense was terrible. But ever since that, boy, it's almost like the whole team just turned a switch. Yeah. Particularly the defense. Look at the points they've given up since that loss. 0, 10, 14, 23, 14, 16, 6, 6, and 13 points the last 9 games.
Saban's got them focused.
Yeah, they've been dialed in on defense, and we know they have the talent. So you look at that Ole Miss performance defensively, and you just think, well, that was a bit of an aberration as they get run over. And the offense, too, has a lot of balance. So, Jeff, when you look at what the odds makers are telling you, do you think this is going to be a 30-10 rout?
30-10 sounds about right. But first, Ole Miss is not a bad team, so it's not losing to Ole Miss is not really a terrible thing. But what's the posted total in this game? Do we have a total yet?
Yeah, it's
40.5.
40.5.
Oh,
that's what
low.
I'm saying. They're saying it's 29-11 is the score they're making.
I was going to go with a rare total with this game, but 40.5 is too low.
Well, if you're saying 30-10, you're putting it right at the number, right? So.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it would be Alabama nothing in this game. Derrick Henry ran for 279 yards on Saturday. He leads the nation in rushing, nearly 1,800 yards, and also 22 rushing TDs. You mentioned Sean Trayon Harris, a sophomore. Not only is he a sophomore, he had a bad game on Saturday. 19 of 38, only 134 yards. He was sacked 4 times. Kelvin Taylor had 139 yards, 25 carries, but there was only so much he could do. Also, Florida took a hit before the game. DeMarcus Robinson was suspended again. There, he was a leading receiver, so they had nothing going for him in that game. Let's see. Last year at Alabama, it was 42-21.
How'd they get to 21?
Bama was a 14-point favorites. I think they had a better offense last year than this year. Jay Coker is completing 65.4% of his passes, 15 TDs. Versus Auburn, he was 17 of 26, so 1 TD. Not much more you can say about this game, but it's pretty obvious it's Alabama or nothing, John.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, last year's game was 42-21. They were a 14-point favorite. Florida had a lot of points, 21 or enough, but they only had
200 yards.
200 total yards in the game, yeah.
Where'd they get the points?
I'm actually going to look at a higher scoring game than the odds makers think. This game is indoors, very low total here, 40.5. I like Jim McElwain a lot. He was an offensive wizard when he was at Colorado State, and he has coaxed a lot of good offensive performances from a team that, even in his own words, is short on offensive talent. Now, last Saturday was not one of them. That was a terrific Florida State defense. But I can see him, he mixes things up on offense, running it when you're supposed to pass and vice versa, throwing some out passes to the running backs. I could see a pretty good game plan to coax some points out of this. I ran through how great the Alabama defense has been these last 9 games, but only 1 shutout during that run. They give up about 10 to 12 points per game. Florida can get a little bit more than that, maybe even in 20. But I think this Alabama offense under Lane Kiffin, I love what he does, where he mixes things up. He's terrific at that, where they run the football when they're supposed to pass and vice versa. So he's very good at play calling, and he's got a ton of weapons to throw to. So indoor game like this, I can see Bama scoring plenty of points, and I think Florida can get enough to get over this extremely low total. And finally, when Bama plays on a neutral site, they are 15-5-1 over the total. So I think this game can squeeze over.
One of the things that will be interesting is because they on these particular games, these high-profile conference playoff games, they post these what's the word for propositions, yeah. And how many points will Florida score will be interesting. I mean, how would you make a number on that? It would be
10 or 11. Yeah,
it wouldn't be. I tell you, it would be less than 12.5, 13. I mean, it would be something like that. Would you take the over and the under on that? It'd be interesting to see what kind of number they will post on this. So.
All right, let's get to some best bets for the weekend. I have to do better than last week when I gave you Michigan and the under. What the heck? I need a bag over my head. And Sean, you had Ohio State. Very good call.
Well, wait a minute. What's the one team I've been touting?
Minnesota Vikings.
The Carolina Panthers every week, and they cover by big numbers, and now they're laying 6.5 and 7 on the road. Just keep betting them.
Well,
Just
is
keep
that
betting
number
them.
getting too high on the Panthers?
It doesn't matter. They're going to New Orleans to play against overpaid Drew Brees. They should have got rid of him after they won the Super Bowl. But
And
they
Zeke
didn't.
Elliott was absolutely right in his criticism.
He
That
was,
that was
yeah.
the worst thing that could have happened to Michigan was Ohio State losing to Michigan State.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the team we saw late last week,
Yeah.
with it going to no heaven. So Sean, so that's your best bet, Carolina?
Carol, stay with them. You know, this is a woman who keeps kissing you real good and doesn't know the word lawyer. I mean, come on. They're not only covering, they're blowing teams out. It's just stay with it till they lose.
Well, how many weeks now have you been on them?
Like the third week, it's just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. That's like betting against the Houston Rockets, who, by the way, finally beat me last night in overtime.
And they were lucky to beat you.
Well, they were, but they were down 14. I thought
terrible.
I had that one, but they don't cover the number. They win and cover, so I lose that one. So
All right, Jeff, you have a big NFL total going for the weekend, plus best bet?
Best bet I go to North Carolina. And this week I have my NFL total of the year. It's only $99. You get it at jimfeist.com. Also, go to jimfeist.com every day. You get pro football, college basketball, NBA. What else is there?
hockey,
No, I haven't done hockey.
College
Soccer.
basketball, did you mention that?
Any
I know
soccer?
college basketball.
college basketball.
But you just go to jimfeist.com and click on LVSS.
And soccer, do you handicap that?
No, that's the one sport I just can't watch.
Yeah, it's just too boring.
I've tried.
Even during the World Cup, I turn it on.
Yeah.
It's,
Jim Feist has his NFC East Game of the Year going this weekend. You can get that at jimfeist.com, or you can call 1-855.
Does anybody want to win that division?
Somebody's going to by default. Just call 1-855-846-7426, or if you want free plays, go to jimwins.com. All right, that'll do it for the college football version of Proline. Good luck with the games, everyone, and from Vegas, we'll see you next week.